Good morning, my beautiful friends. Hey, it's Patrick Allman coming at you 9 a.m. Friday, October 18th. For those of you who watch consistently on a regular basis, I'm surprised I didn't get any complaints from the fact that I skipped Wednesday. Man, I got to get a bigger audience. I got to wait till the point where I have like 5 million concurrent viewers. Wouldn't that be cool? But then again, my name would have to be Joe Rogan, and we sure as hell don't want that, right? Hey, it is 9 a.m. Friday, October 18th. Pretty stoked here today. This is my last work day before I get to, I'm not going to say it's a mini vacation, but before I get to step away from the desk for the physical desk for a week and be on my feet all next week. All next week is the HighLevel conference, HighLevel CRM. As you know, we are resellers for that tool. And it's a Geek Fest next week. Well, part of next week, but it's a Geek Fest starting on probably Monday night with a mini Geek Fest Monday morning. So real quick, my name is Patrick Allman. I run a digital marketing lead generation service here in Oklahoma City called Stop Doing Nothing Media. And this is our multiple times a week show. I like to say 3 times a week, but I did skip Wednesday this week. But that's also the first time I've skipped a day in a long time. By long time, I mean 2 or 3 months, which is a lot if you're doing this 3 times a week. So yeah, we talk about business, we talk about lead generation, we talk about CRMs, and we talk about life too. And right now, what's really on my mind is the fact, like I said, this is my last day before I actually get to step away on Sunday and dry lips and go to this HighLevel conference for 3 days next week. And what's really cool about it is I've kind of backed up all this. I didn't realize how much I'm packing in the next 7 days. And it's I like busy because I like having something else to look forward to, even though I like being in the moment. So the HighLevel conference is the big thing, but my upcoming time consists of probably exercise tomorrow, a wedding tomorrow night, get up Sunday and do a multi-hour live stream, which I like to do on Sunday morning. So I'm probably going to be doing that for a couple of hours, 7 or 8 o'clock Sunday morning, drive to Dallas Sunday afternoon, get checked into an Airbnb so I can set up for my own class Monday morning. So I'm conducting a 5-hour training session before the official HighLevel event. And then the HighLevel event check-in starts, starts Monday night. And then we have the HighLevel conference Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday afternoon, I drive to my buddy's ranch, Mateo. Shout out if you're watching. I drive to my buddy's ranch, and I'll be hanging out there until Sunday. And then Sunday, I drive back to the Oklahoma City metro area. Man, dry lips today. And I get to MC. I'm lucky enough to MC a cheerleading contest. And if you've ever wanted to see a group of hyped up glitter, hairspray, caffeine bouncing, young men and women, it would be a cheerleading competition. I think it's an exhibition is what it is. So I'm looking forward to that. Shout out if you are watching and you know about the Twist and Shout cheerleading gym in Northwest Oklahoma City. They are having, I'm going to pull up the calendar here. I guess they're having an exhibition probably on the 27th. So yeah, I'm basically on the road from the 20th through the 27th. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting 7 days. And I like it. I like it, like I said, when it's busy. I like the fact that I have things back to back to back because it forces my brain to think ahead. It forces me to think on my feet. It forces me to come up with kind of plan B's and C's in case I can't make certain things. So, but today, like I said, is the last work day. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do about the lives next week. I'm going to actually try and record them today and tomorrow and get them scheduled. So if you see me live the week of October 20th, 2024, they may be recorded live as recorded, which most TV is these days anyways. But that's what I have coming up this week. If you have something coming up in the next 7 days that you want to talk about or you want to brag about, please drop it in the comments there, and we can talk about that and announce it. But yeah, so I'm doing the slow packing thing. You know that thing when you have a road trip and you slow pack? Been doing that for a couple days. And I consider slow packing just when you start laying stuff out you don't want to forget. And for this trip, since I've adopted recently the philosophy of of always marketing, trying to make sure that I always have something on that's marketing related. And so I bought special shorts and I had special shirts made for next week. And this is the first time I'm trying shirts with QR codes at the back. So at this conference, I am not an official vendor. However, I am a networking maniac and I want to meet and greet as many people as possible. So I made sure that I had something on the back in front of my shirt that would always connect people to me. So on the back of my shirt, I have a QR code for people to scan that gets them inside of my system. And on the front, you've got my name and my phone number. I actually should have worn one. I should have worn one. They're over with my packing stuff. I should have worn one today. But yeah, so I've got custom clothes. That was kind of a milestone for me to make this trip. I got some car work done. That was a milestone. So now I'm just knocking down all these milestones. I had a milestone yesterday. I had a speaking gig remotely for a Chamber of Commerce to talk about AI. I knocked down that milestone. So we're just knocking down milestones until all the way until next Sunday where we're getting things done. If you are going to be in Dallas at the HighLevel event, please make sure you seek me out and get a picture with me, catch a drink with me, maybe a cup of coffee or an omelet or something, and definitely scan the shirt when you are there in Dallas. But most of all, just come up and give me a handshake or a hug. Okay, I want to meet as many people as possible, and I want to learn what everyone's doing because it just affects the training materials that I put out, and kind of impacts and lets me think about the way I can help people. So if you are going to be in Dallas next week, let me know. Also, if you're going to be in Dallas next week, and this is especially for the people that are new to HighLevel, on Monday morning on 10/21, we are having we're basically having like an overview of HighLevel to help early and mid adopters be more successful. And so we're having a free session Monday morning about 3 blocks away from the Statler. I think is last time I've looked. I've been obsessing on Google Maps over this. But if you want to register for that event, and again, like I said, it's free, there's the link. I put the link right there in the comments. It's ghlbadass.com. And why in the world did my comment only go one place? We want to go to all 4 places. So do I have to specifically go on YouTube and put ghlbadass.com? Interesting. I thought it was going to go to all 4 places. But anyways, yeah, it's a free session we have going on the morning of the 21st. If you can't make it or you're already registered, take that link I put right there in the comments. It's ghlbadass.com/badass and help me out by sharing that on social media if you would. We are close to filling up the class, and I really want to fill up the class and I would be successful. Because then what I'll do is I'll start doing these every year at the HighLevel conference, and that's always been my goal ever since I've seen other vendors do it at events. I've wanted to try it, and so this is my first go at it. I've already paid for a room for 5 hours. I've got all my video equipment out since we're driving there to record the session. So I don't know if I'll be selling recordings or whatever it is, but I am definitely getting this content on camera. I might live stream it. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm waiting to hear back from the venue to make sure they've got a Cat 5 connection for my video switcher. I don't want to just stream off of a laptop like a lot of people do. Oh, there we go. There we go. Now my comments are coming through. I see someone named Tushbeb Hussein. Is that right? Where are you watching from? I appreciate that, dude. The mentor. I appreciate that. Where are you watching from for sure? But yeah, so I have that going on Sunday. I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of people traveling from different countries also. That's always fun. And on a humorous note, I created a private chat for people that are going. So if you are going, let me know and I will add you to the private chat. But there's a buddy of mine, Johan, who was asking people that are kind of coming and going internationally, they're asking what someone wants that they can only get in their country. And I said, hey, you know what? I've never tried Vegemite. Bring me some Vegemite. So my buddy Johan from HighLevel Suite they're one of the big vendors there. I'm going to have some Vegemite, and I don't know when it's going to be. I'm probably going to record it on camera. I may live stream it. We'll see. But I've never had Vegemite. So someone's bringing a container, or Johan's bringing a container of Vegemite for me to try out on camera. So this should be fun. And it's interesting. I was looking up Vegemite and what it would taste like because I was just kind of curious if it was really salty or if it was full of protein, which I would have loved. And it's interesting. They said that one of the many factoids or trivia items I read said that a Vegemite sandwich in Australia is the equivalent of like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for a kid in the States. Not because of taste, because I'm 100% sure it does not remotely taste the same. But when it comes to kind of like casual sandwich, like Mom, I want a snack. Oh, here have a PB&J. In Australia, it's Mom or Dad, I want a snack. Here, have some Vegemite or have a Vegemite sandwich. And of course, those kids like me who grew up in the 80s will always know that a Vegemite sandwich is the main theme in the song A Land Down Under. And I think is that Men Without Hats? I believe that was Men Without Hats. Not quite sure. Um, but yeah, so I've got that going on this weekend, staying in an Airbnb, excited about that. Probably going to stop by and buy some groceries. I got to find some parking somewhere in downtown Dallas by the Giant Eyeball. That I've been told there's plenty of parking in that area. And then, like I said, we have the Monday morning thing, and then the event is Tuesday through Thursday. If you are going to attend the event and you haven't done so, please make sure you download the event app for HighLevel. And I don't work for HighLevel, but I'm going to be down there. They have an event app that I installed for iOS, which the main thing for the event app I'm going to find useful is probably obviously the agenda and speakers. But I'm a very anti-paper person, so having something on an app is going to be very useful for me. And I just like saying their name, HighLevel. And of course, as I say every show, if you know somebody who's having problems generating leads or getting more attention or having problems with SEO or don't have a good lead flow or someone who absolutely hates, their CRM, their HubSpot, their MailChimp, their Constant Contact, or someone who just hates having multiple bills, please reach out to me and send them my way. I'll make you an affiliate. I'll give you some money every single month when you become an affiliate. So that's the actual formal part of the show. Today, I was going to talk about risk for a little bit, and I'm just kind of curious as to how much risk people are willing to take. Because when I think about it, every now and then I spend some time going back on when I first started my business, and that would have been in October of 1998 is when I started my business. And I was thinking at the time, what kind of risks was I taking? And what kind of risks have I taken ever since then? And I realized that I like to think that I'm risk. I'm not risk averse, but I kind of think I am once I started thinking about it. I didn't. I have to admit, a lot of times I jump into stuff. I'm not so much risky. I don't do a lot of high risk things with my money, but sometimes with ideas or paths I choose, I'm a little bit risk averse, and a lot of it I think comes from the fact that if I knew everything, I don't think I would be as I'm not going to say as dumb, but as risk friendly as I have been in some things. For example, a lot of you or several of you watching are watching because you eventually want to start your own business. Okay, I seem to attract that crowd quite a bit. People in W-2 jobs, which there's no shame in that want to go off and start their own thing. Okay, that is a very high risk venture, and thank goodness that people have done it, because that just creates more and more entrepreneurs. And what's funny is, I guess maybe it's not funny. It's a little bit humorous. The fact that we like to in the world of entrepreneurship, we like to sometimes dog all the W-2 people versus the 1099 people, right? Oh, I'm an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is sometimes just a catchphrase for someone who can't get a regular job. That's what an entrepreneur is sometimes. But we look at it as two sides of how you can make your revenue. You can be a 1099 person or you can be a W-2 person. I see that sometimes. And what's funny is, you big companies often will hire, well, they will 100% hire people, and then you're on W-2. But remember that big company at one point in time was a medium company and a small company. What was it by? It was by someone who left a regular job probably and started their own. So it's somebody. Oh, thanks, Keith, for saying you see that on YouTube, man. Thanks. I had to cross post it. But normally when I post a comment, it goes to all platforms. But for this reason, sometimes it wasn't. But I just see it caught up. So there we go. It's caught up now. Okay, thanks. But people who become entrepreneurs, probably eventually had a regular, 9 to 5 job. Then they broke off on their own. They became successful, and they eventually had a big company where they had W-2 people working for them. So it's really not fair to ever shame anybody who's a W-2 person or a 1099 person, because you're either creating jobs or you're working in a job that someone creates, and we need both people in the business world. Okay, but my whole point is I did not do all the right research I should have when I started my own business. And so it was a huge risk, and I didn't realize what a huge risk was, what's the term phrase I'm trying to say? Oh, what a huge risk it was when I did it. And I didn't, I tell the story about how there are things I did in my first month of business that I did because I didn't even know what I didn't know. And that may be one of my greater, I'm not going to say qualities or assets, but one of the things that's made me a little bit more successful than maybe the average person is just jumping into things not knowing. Being, there's something to be said for being completely dumb about jumping into a topic. It's going to help you probably jump in better over somebody who has an education on a topic. Okay, if you know a lot about something, it will scare you, and it will make you wonder why people do it, and it will make you think that's a dumb thing. But if you jump into it sometimes, and if you jump into it and without knowing, I mean, you don't know the dangers involved, and so you're not really afraid. Maybe that's the joy of being a kid, is you are willing to jump into things because you don't know enough to be afraid. And maybe, growing up as an adult is what changes us into a fear person or a fear monger, and all of a sudden we don't want to jump in that creek off the cliff. We don't want to do all those risky things. Let's see what Charles says here. Um, he always gets the greatest responses. Biggest risk I took was leaving my cushy corporate career and started my own company. Going from a guaranteed mid six figures to was scary, but I'm glad I did it for the right reasons. Yeah, I mean we've been there. You know what? Oh, I like the fact the other day that I could resize these comments. So we've all been there, and that's what I did too. Charles is I left a cushy job. I probably left one of the cushiest jobs ever. I worked for IBM. Okay, I worked for a giant big blue company. And that was my dream as a kid. That was the interesting part. Is when I was a teenager, I thought, in the world of IT and technology, the high point of your career would be working for a company like IBM, and I actually achieved that. Not through clawing my way up. Let's get this down here a little bit lower and back to where it was. Here we go. Yeah, love me. Patrick's just playing with live video stuff right here. But I didn't go to work for. I didn't get to IBM as a result of working my way up in the corporate world or the IT world. I got it as a result of an outsourcing. I tell people that I cut my teeth on my IT chops over here at the Hertz data center, the major car rental company. Their data center is where I cut my chops. And then they were growing and growing and growing, and they outsourced. What was the time? It was IBM Global Services is what it was, and I did a lot of really good work at IBM Global Services. And then a vendor came in, and a vendor saw that I was really good with their product, and they basically hired me away from there. And I remember I had to go to someplace to interview the major vendor that was hiring and wanted me away. They wanted to meet me in person, and I can't remember if it was Sacramento. My friend Julie Talon would know. I can't remember if it was Sacramento or where it was, but I remember I landed there. I met an Air Force buddy, Julie Talon, and her husband, and their daughter, and then I had to go to my hotel room. I remember laying on my hotel room, and that was probably the only thing, um, probably the only time in my life I can remember having something which would equate to a panic attack. I laid in my hotel room, probably shaking a little bit, trying to figure out what the heck was I doing when I had a cushy job with IBM, and I probably could have retired with IBM. I was doing very well in that company. I was getting fast promotions. I was allowed to travel. I had some bosses that recognized that I was doing really good things. So that was really good, but it wasn't what I wanted to do at the time, and it wasn't giving me the upward mobility in life that I really wanted. So I made the leap, and I probably did a lot of dumb things on the fall on the way down as I jumped without a parachute. But hey, here we are today. If you're watching this, I've got computer equipment and the lights are on, and I've got walls around me and a roof over my head. So I must be doing something right. Our buddy Vinny has joined us. So let's see what Vinny says today. This is cool. I like the fact that everyone's watching on YouTube. Good morning. Biggest risk was walking away from a 20-year job and took the digital marketing leap. Best decision ever. Yeah, you and I and Charles, aka Pinnacle AI. It's we all do the same thing. Vinny is what it is. We all left cushy corporate jobs, CCJs. Let's call them. We all left our CCJs, cushy corporate jobs. Yeah, and went on our own. And then Pinnacle AI also says, for me, it's not about taking the risk. It's about the why. And for me, it's about. Thank you for saying that. For me, a lot of it is about the control. So, the running joke in the entrepreneurship world is, you're going to quit working 40 hours a week so you can work 60 hours a week, right? 60 hours a week on a good week, and that is 100% the way it is. But it's 60 hours spent the way you wanted to spend them, where you wanted to spend them, more than likely on what you want to spend them on. And that has been my mantra or my goal ever since I've kind of went out on my own. Is that's the whole reason I want control of my time, is I want to dictate what I'm doing, with whom I'm doing it, where I'm doing it, for how long I'm doing it. Okay. It may be the same work I was doing in a corporate job. Okay. It's just I don't want to be tied down to that desk basically doing work that I have no choice over. Okay. In my day, in my world, I get to choose the clients I work with and to choose the kind of work I want to do. Not necessarily true in the corporate world. In the corporate world, sometimes you're made to work on projects you don't want to work on and learn skills you had no intention of learning, because you know what? Someone just dictated to one day that your boss said, hey, you need to learn this skill to keep your job. And fortunately, I was ahead of the curve on a lot of that stuff. I proactively learned a lot of skills, but still, that's just that lack of choice is something I don't want anymore. So, what was I taking here as far as notes? What kind of risks are there? Well, we've talked about risks. I'm starting a business. Another huge risk you have as an entrepreneur is idea overload. Okay, that's a risk I have. That's something that I have to be careful of sometimes. Is coming up with new ideas and spending hours on them when they're not really part of my mission. They're not really all part of my big overall plan. So I try to I really try to spend some time figuring out my focus a lot, and that was probably one of the reasons I even came up with my first company, my first formal company name after ATBS Consulting, was all about focus, helping people focus on technology, focusing on success. I had a tagline in there about focusing on that. So you got to be very careful about that. And also, you have to be very careful when somebody around you has other ideas. And those things are risky also. So I was taking notes here, and I says, when you have an idea and you choose to spend some time in it, that's risky. When someone around you has a new idea and the company wants to spend time, or that person wants to spend time on it and not spend time on the main mission, or when someone under you has a new idea, right? And so it's different, by the way. It's different if a partner has a new idea, because a partner is a stakeholder in the company, versus when a subordinate has an idea also, okay? And, as a good CEO or as a good, business owner or founder, you don't ever really want to discount ideas, but sometimes you don't discount them, but you kind of say that, you know what, that's not really our focus. It's a good idea. Let's put that away now and maybe bring it up as something later, because that idea may be somebody else's dream. And so that's hard sometimes to squash. I mean, let's talk about your squashing dreams. If somebody else who's a partner in your company or who's subordinate to you comes up with a good idea, and you have to kind of kill that. So you got to be careful about that, and just again figure out how risk averse you are. And I think if you have a really strong mission statement, which I can't say that I do, but I do have a really strong idea of what we're doing at Stop Doing Nothing Media. That makes the option of rejecting new ideas, that makes it easier. When you know what you're doing and you know the direction you're going, rejecting other ideas that aren't in line with that make those rejections a little bit easier. Okay. Let me see what else. I'm trying to pay attention to everything that's coming my way today so I don't lose anybody. Sunday the 13th. Where are we? I'm just trying to make sure that we're in good shape. Okay, cool. Some other things that I was thinking about when it came to scaling a business, or when it came to a risk in business, is the risk of scaling a business. Because scaling a business involves almost always involves spending more money or time on something. Okay, and so this is probably something else I've been a little bit fearful of is when sometimes when it comes to scaling my business and putting money and trust in someone else to do the expertise and do the work I have. That's another risk. And so you got to stop and think sometime is, if you want to grow, how willing are you to give up some of your control? And how much are you willing to document your processes and your SOPs to help you grow? So you have to spend some time thinking about that risk. And this again is a case where I don't have all the answers. I was just thinking about some of the areas I spend time on when I think about being risk averse or less riskful in my business. When bringing on partners, this is one that's always a huge risk. And I get requests for partnerships not infrequently. I've probably got 2 or 3 discussions going on with people that maybe want to partner up with me. Some because I have a highly technical, it's kind of funny. I have some people that want to partner up with me because I have a highly technical brain and I know how to keep tech organized. I know how to handle certain products. And I've got some people that want to partner up with me because of me doing exactly what I'm doing right now, being on camera and being the face of a company. So I've got some people that want me to be the face of their company because they've seen I'm an outgoing person. I'm a tech person. I can be entertaining if I ever have to, in addition to being a hyper nerd. So I can be funny, then I can be a hyper nerd who codes in assembler language in the same day. And that may be hard to find in a person. So I've got some people that want to partner up on that. And that one, I'm very slow rolling my options on that one, just because I've got to get any kind of partnerships correctly. Right. And then the last one, when I was taking my notes here, I'm looking at it, is not only when bringing on partners, but when bringing on subordinates. And to tell you the truth, I guess that's kind of the same thing as scaling. Now I look at my notes here. Bringing on subordinates is scaling. There is probably going to be a time soon where I bring on some other tech people that is going to basically allow me to sub out some work that I already handle internally, and that scares me a little bit. Okay, fortunately, I've got some companies I'm going to do it with. I always these days I'm kind of always aiming for outsourcing to companies versus individuals because I don't want to. I don't want this the risk anymore. Let me catch up in the comments here. Yeah, as Charles said here, for me, it's not about taking the risk. It's about the why. And then what did you send here with the rabbit? Is that a UFO and a rabbit? Is that what that is? I can't tell there. It looks like a UFO and a rabbit or a hole. Rabbit hole. Rabbit hole. Got it. Okay, that's a rabbit hole. That took me a second to get. That looks like a rabbit catching a silver frisbee is what that is. Going down the rabbit hole. Very good. Thank you. Got to be careful like that. And Vinny's right. Every day is overload, and what people watching will probably recognize if you are or ever been an entrepreneur or you ever been an idea person is exactly what Vinny is putting on right here is I get so many people telling me their ideas on what I should be doing. I get that. And then I get people telling me ideas on what they should be doing. So when you're an entrepreneur, when let's say you're a 1099, okay? When you're a 1099 person, you're the small up and coming struggle bus kind of person, you're being the entrepreneur. You get people in let's say this is called a mainstream jobs, okay? You get people in mainstream jobs who tell you all the ideas that they want to do, but they don't want to leave their security blanket. I don't say that in an insulting way, but they don't want to leave the security blanket to do it. So I'm sure Vinny, you've experienced this. Charles, you've experienced this. Everyone who's watching has experienced this. Who's an entrepreneur, where you're at a conference or you're at a coffee shop or you're at a dinner party or whatever, and and you're sitting down with someone and they go, what do you do? Well, my name is Patrick Allman. I'm an entrepreneur. I've started several different businesses. Right now I run a digital lead agency. And someone's like, oh, I've had this idea for a while. We should make a car that runs on the citric acid from oranges. And it would be a small car, and you could just squeeze out the oranges and use the citric acid to keep the engine running. And you're like, okay. And someone's like, well, you should take this idea and run with it. So that's part one. Part two is when someone says, oh, you should take the idea, run with it, research it, do the work, and then give me the money for the idea. I'm like, nope, no, thank you. It's your idea. You do it. I have no interest in running cars off of citric acid. So a lot of times when people know that you run your own business, they will basically tell you ideas that they think you should implement, and they want credit for the idea. They want money for the idea, but they figure since you're an entrepreneur, hey, you know how to do everything, right? You can build cars, you can extract citric acid from oranges. And that's something else that I'll say is kind of as I'm wrapping up here. It's amazing how many skills people think I have as an entrepreneur when they're pitching me ideas. Okay, and this has happened before. It's hilarious. I'm fairly tech smart, and I'm saying that a little bit humbly because I've been at this IT stuff since the mid '80s, mid to probably early '80s. So I know my way around the internet. I know my way around technology. I've built my share of hardware projects, and I've built my share of software projects. But when you know a little bit of technology, um, people often think that you know all technology, so you can just take their idea and run with it. And this it's something you have to push back on, obviously. But here's the one you really have to push back on, knowing IT chops. And we'll just call this a day. When you know a little bit of IT and you become the IT guy for all of your friends, and that is another risk, I guess, in a way that you kind of have to be careful of. A lot of us, by the way, got into tech just because we were a little bit good at it. And that's, I know I'm kind of rambling here, but that's how a lot of times you become the tech guy in your friends group is you just know a little bit more than somebody else. That's all it takes is knowing a little bit more than somebody else. All of a sudden, all the grandmas in the neighborhood are calling you, to help them reset their password and get on their Cox internet connection. Okay. I don't know where I was going with that, but my whole point was is be very risk. I would say be risk averse when it comes to dealing with people. And that was kind of the summary notes I was taking as I was talking about risk is be risk averse when it comes to things like partnerships and subcontracting and subordinate and bringing on subordinates and anything that involves people because people are a high risk thing. Be less be less more less risk averse when it comes to things like scaling your business, okay, and putting money into marketing, okay. Um, you obviously have to be careful and make sure you're doing good marketing, but don't ever be afraid of risking money to spend on marketing. Okay, I'm spending money and time on marketing every single day, and as long as I focus and I don't do things too risky, my marketing and my reach is growing every single day with these live streams, with the ads I'm running, with the people I'm talking to, with the apparel that I'm going to be wearing at this event coming up. Okay, my marketing is scaling up, and I'm seeing nothing but good results coming out of it. So never be afraid to spend money on marketing or anything that kind of scales your business. Not counting the people factor. The people factor to me is a very high risk thing, and I avoid people risks like partnership risks, subordinate risks, subcontracting risks. I try to avoid those risks like the plague. Okay. I need to call it a day because not a day. I need to call it a show because I have some more Dallas prep work to do before I can hit the road Sunday. I will be busy nonstop until Sunday when I hit the road. So thank you as always for watching. And I will figure out what I'm going to do about the show next week because we got a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday 9 a.m. show we have to handle some week, some way, somehow. I may be doing them from a Dallas hotel room. I may be doing them from a Dallas Starbucks, but one way or another, I will see you Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 a.m. next week. As always, thank you. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I will see you on the next show with Patrick Allman at Stop Doing Nothing.